how significant is Mahmoud Abbas's pledge to work with President Trump and major powers on a Gaza peace plan? And can it realistically lead to a breakthrough after nearly 2 years of war?
Thank you for having. It seems that the Palestinian president is eager to engage constructively and positively with President Trump's latest initiative with regards to the ceasefire and the cessation of hostilities and the eventual settlement of Gaza. It seems that the Arab Islamic leaders who attended this high-level meeting with President Trump on the margins of the UN General Assembly have stressed the necessity of involving the Palestinian Authority in governing Gaza in the post-war period. And it seems that the United States is not opposed to the idea, so it seems. We have not seen any sources indicating that President Trump has made any reservations with regards to that. So President Abbas is upping the ante and continuing to push forward in that direction, hoping that the Palestinian Authority will be a part of the conversation and eventually a part of the process in post-war Gaza. Of course, all of this is very premature, as you very well know, Rana, because actually we cannot really assess the seriousness of Trump's initiative as of yet. I think we might see the initial indicators of whether this will actually succeed and whether Trump will honor his pledges with regards to actually going forward with the ending of the Gaza war when he meets with Netanyahu in a few days, this Monday. Maybe then we will know exactly where the entire situation is heading. If President Trump exercises pressure on Israel in order for them to engage positively as well with this initiative, maybe we might see some positive results, which is something we have not seen for a while. If he doesn't, of course, then this will all be empty talk.
Sir, what does the overwhelming General Assembly backing of the peace declaration mean for Israel's international isolation, especially amidst Netanyahu's rejection of Palestinian statehood?
Of course, no one can deny the significance of the impact of the tsunami or the torrent of recognition that erupted as of late, which is basically isolating Israel, at least figuratively, as things stand. What's happening right now is a PR crisis for Israel. Israel is losing the sympathies of the Western world, and Palestine is gaining more and more ground within the collective West, and especially in Europe, when countries like France, for example, and even Canada and Australia go ahead and recognize the state of Palestine despite the strategic relationships with Israel. Of course, this signifies that Israel is losing the PR battle and is losing the battle for the hearts and minds of the world. However, of course, even though this is a PR crisis and even though this might project a sense of Israeli isolation, it's not necessarily reflective of the true state of affairs, because Israel will only be isolated if sanctions are imposed. We have seen some positive signs with President Macron pledging to impose sanctions or vowing to impose sanctions on Israel if this war continues eventually. This, of course, it's not unprecedented. He made these threats before. If he is willing to follow up his words with action, and actually the Europeans will impose some sort of sanction on Israel, then Israel will actually be isolated. And I think that the chances of this happening, even though they are still slim, but they are definitely larger than they were before. So I think that this is something that we should observe diligently in the coming days and weeks.
Sir, how could the global Sumut flotilla and European naval support from Spain and Italy reshape the debate over Israel's blockade and international law at sea?
Of course, we should not blow this out of proportion. If we have heard what the Italian defense minister said today, it reveals the true extent of the involvement of Spain and Italy in securing the flotilla of Al-Sumud, because basically this flotilla, which is composed of a few dozen ships and boats, moved into the Gaza Strip, hoping to break the siege and present our Gaza with more humanitarian aid, of course, with the sheer symbolism this carries, of course. At this point, the Italian defense minister was telling them not to violate or enter Israeli territorial waters. And of course, Israeli territorial waters include the waters of the Gaza Strip, since the Gaza Strip, under international law, is occupied by the state of Israel. So the territorial waters of Gaza are under the suzerainty and the military protection of the Israeli occupation. If you go and try to violate or intercede of Gaza, these Italian, maybe even Spanish naval vessels will not provide you with the needed cover. The cover, of course, is for to prevent the Israelis from targeting the flotilla or the vessels in the flotilla in international waters, as was the case last time. Last time, the vessel of Al-Saud was targeted and intercepted Navy and special forces in international waters. Yes, Rana.
Go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
No, yeah, that was my point. Yes, go ahead.
Okay, with over 65,000 Palestinians killed in Gaza, how much pressure can mounting international recognition of a Palestinian state exert on Israel to change this course, sir?
Can you repeat the question when I didn't get that?
Of course, sir. With over 65,000 Palestinians killed and Gaza devastated, how much pressure can mounting international recognition of a Palestinian state exert on Israel to change course? And is it too late, sir?
If international recognition is not followed up by sanctions and punitive measures against Israel, then it will do nothing for the plight of the Palestinians in the Gaza Strip. The issue of recognition is of great sheer symbolic significance. It is definitely a huge moral boost to the Palestinian cause. It does highlight and strengthen the legitimacy of the Palestinian rights. However, it does not go beyond that. Without concrete action on the ground, you can forget about alleviating the suffering of the people of Gaza. Pressure needs to be applied on Israel in the form of sanctions and punitive measures in order to force their hand down and make them more flexible and more responsive to the ceasefire initiatives and to the diplomatic efforts of the mediators, Qatar and Egypt, in their efforts to reach a ceasefire agreement that will secure the release of the detainees and the hostages, and also the withdrawal of the Israeli military from the Gaza Strip and the resumption of the peace process based on the two-state solution, which on the borders of June 4th, 1967. If this doesn't happen, if this doesn't transpire on the ground, then it will all be, again, empty talk.